Hello, and welcome back to another edition of the Medeek project plugin. My name is Nathaniel P. Wilkerson, and today I wanted to talk about the new title block tool. So before I get started with that, let's go ahead and load up a file that I'd previously created called Project One, and you're going to see why I loaded that file in just a second here. But to begin with, let's just go ahead and delete this grid. I didn't want to start with the grid yet, but I'll get to that. So let's pull this toolbar here out. So recently we just added now the draw title block tool or title block tool. And as you're going to see, it actually pulls the information from the project information tool. So let's go ahead and start with the grid. So we'll put this grid down just so we have something to reference against. And yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and crank this thing up. And you can see that initially, most of these fields are blank, which, you would expect, of course. But I've actually gone ahead prior to this video and input values for the customer and the architect or designer, and also for the engineer. So let's just go ahead and just leave this as default as it is. And all we need to do is click 2 points, and we have ourselves a title block. Okay, close that out. So right off the bat, like I said, you're going to see that some of these fields have been filled out. Some, of course, are blank. We've already got a design firm here and a fictitious, of course, but and a logo. So you'll ask the question, well, where is all this information coming from? Where is it stored? So let's revisit real quickly the project information tool. So prior to this video, I basically, created this file and input some information here for this project and client information along with the latitude, longitude, all that good stuff. And then also now what I've recently added is the EOR and the AOR tabs. So the EOR means engineer of record. The AOR means architect of record. Of course, it could be an architect, could just be, a drafter, designer, whoever's doing the designing on your project. So let's go look at that real quick. So the EOR tab will give you pretty much your basic information, your name of the engineer, the company, the streets, address, etc., phone numbers, website addresses, and also copyright notice. And the reason for the copyright notice, of course, is now if you want to create a title block, this information will automatically populate into those fields. You can also upload the custom logo for the firm. As you can see here, I have just kind of a default logo set up initially, and that will populate the title block. But yeah, you can upload any sort of logo you want at any resolution. I think accepted image types are JPEG and PNG. Also, you want to pay attention to the aspect ratio of that image. I think the optimal image aspect ratio is 5:3, but you can use different if you so choose. And the same here with the architect information, AOR, or designer. You have basically all the basic information that you need to populate the title block with. So this information is stored, like I said, in an attribute library at the root of this file, of this project file. So once you've input this information in, this information just stays with the model, with the file. And then by default, when you create a title block, it will try to pull these 3 blocks of information into your title block. So that's essentially what's happened here. Now, there will be situations maybe where you may want to change that up. Like, for instance, maybe the font isn't quite right, or the you may want it all caps instead of not lower, whatever you want. But the thing is if once you have created it, you can just right-click on this title block and edit title block. Okay, and so that's typically what I like to do. And then you can get in here and you can muck around with this thing and customize it however you like. So for instance, maybe this web address, we want it all capitalized. So you just enter it all caps. And there you can see it quickly updated that. Okay, so you also have a bunch of other things in here that are probably of some interest. You can change the different fonts for the sheet font versus the title block font. So the title block font is all the font, the text, like these little pieces of text here, right, that kind of fill out the basic blocks of the title block. And that, so for instance, I would change the, let's see, title block font. Let's go to Times New Roman just to demonstrate. So you can see now that these are Times New Roman instead of Arial, whereas the sheet font, which is the fields being filled in, is Arial. So, it's kind of one thing or another, however you want to do that. I've kind of separated them out a little bit, just so you can kind of customize this thing. And again, this title block is really not intended to replace anything you might do in layout, because layout is probably where you're going to have your construction drawings put together, and you'll have your own title block, and you'll have a template for that or something. This is just kind of a quick and dirty way of generating a title block, within SketchUp itself. And so, if you just need to, fire off something from SketchUp and not having to go into layout, this gives you that quick option. So yeah, I think it's pretty useful. I just wanted to dive into just a few more things with this. So again, you're going to start with the basic options. Let's just call this floor plan, and you can just hit update. You can put a date on it. Now, you'll notice underneath kind of the basic things here, you're going to have all these options that basically turn off all the main fields below. So for instance, you've got this revision history panel. We can turn that off. Maybe you don't want that. And if you hit update, now you've got a simpler title block. Maybe you just want the floor plan. You don't have a whole plan option here. Like for instance, like this might be somebody's house. Like let's say, I don't know. Let's just call this Smith residence, for instance. So this might be sheet 1 of the Smith residence, right? And let's do that actually. Let's go up here under the sheet number options. Call this A1 of A10, for instance. And there we go. And notice how this is rotated at 90 degrees from the rest of the text. So I've done that because sometimes in some cases, you've got a plan set, and this title block is actually vertical. If you were to look at the plans oriented, sideways. So that sometimes you want this drawn this way, but if you don't, again, you can just switch this to 0, and now, it draws it the same way as all the rest of the text. The cool thing I think with this title block is, you've got this editing capability, which makes it fully parametric, and you can kind of just design this thing on the fly and change things up as you see fit. You have your customer information, all that good stuff. Maybe you don't want the AOR information here. You can make that go away. It doesn't mean it clears it out, because if you put it back, it's still, all that information is still there. It's saved. It's just it just hasn't rendered it or drawn it. So yeah, you have full capabilities of customizing this pretty much as to suit your needs. One other thing I think would be useful to mention is, so there's 3 fields here that use what's called a text area box, the copyright notices, and actually let's turn on the engineer field or option as well. Let's click that. Okay, so now notice you've not only got your designer, now you've got your engineer in there. And so what was I trying to say? It was about the copyright notices, and also this field here for the projection. So a lot of times people on their drawings are going to say something like third angle projection. And that will be placed right here, I think, somewhere in this block. Let's go ahead and let's just try that out real quick. Third angle projection. Okay, and notice that I'm not putting any hard returns in there or anything. I'm just, you can open these up a little more if you need to, just to kind of see what you've got. Okay. Actually, no, it puts it in this box. Okay. So, this is how it looks. But a lot of times that you want that a little more compact looking. So that's why I've gone ahead and if you do enter in some returns here, you'll notice that it now will render it as multi-line text, which I think looks a little better. So I basically did that for this particular field and the copyright fields as well. So you can kind of get that look and feel that you want for your copyright notice. All right. One last thing I think we need to talk about is okay. So let's click update on this, and we can kind of see what we've got. Now, if we go to draw a new one, like let's say we have multiple sheets going on here in this model for whatever reason, we want to draw a couple title blocks. We may also put like the whatever draw the rest of the sheet kind of outline, but you can do that and you can group that and put that however you like. But really, we're just mostly concerned with this, right? So if we go and click now with this Draw Title Block tool, what's going to happen is it's going to remember the information, the fields for the last edited title block. And so it's going to basically pull up all of that same information, and you'll notice that. So if I go ahead and draw a second title block, it's going to basically look like exactly the same as the first, right? Now, you don't have to do that. You can change it, obviously. But the nice thing about this is that now if you have like multiple sheets, for instance, that you're trying to put in this file, then you could just quickly, edit this one or regen it, and then just go ahead and start drawing more. And then, if you need to come in here now and change this to like sheet, A2, and maybe put a new date on it. I don't know, just whatever you need to do here, whatever you need to modify, you can do that. Okay. So, and then each one is independent of each other. And just like any other assemblies that I create with my plugins, you can basically lock these so you can't modify them again. And the way to do that, of course, is just change this entity instance name. Notice it has a keyword title block _assembly and then a bunch of random kind of a timestamp associated with it. This timestamp is, you can replace that with something. You can put that, you could, for instance, just even put A2, for instance, if you like. It doesn't really matter. It's just to make it basically different from this one so that it's a unique instance name in the drawing. But if you put these two the same instance name, you don't want to do that because then the plugin, kind of gets confused at which one you're trying to edit. So the key thing I think is just to remember each one of these needs to have a unique instance name, which it automatically does, of course. But if you want to get in here and change this, this random string of numbers, you're more than welcome to do that. So yeah, you can go ahead. You still can get in here and edit it. Everything's all good. All that fun stuff. Let's say, let's change it to A3. So the last thing I guess I wanted to stress was, okay, so let's say that you want to lock this out. You don't want anybody to edit this anymore with the plugin. To do that, just remove this keyword title block assembly. You can call this, let's just call this A2, for instance, just to make it simple, right? Okay, so now if we do that, and we try to edit this title block, notice that there is no edit title block anymore. It's gone. Whereas here you could edit and regen the title block. Now, basically, the plugin does not recognize this as an editable title block. So it's essentially locked it. You can't edit it with the plugin anymore. But if you want to return that editing capability, just grab this little piece of text and then let's go back in here, and I'm just going to add that keyword and leave the A2 there, of course. Okay, so now I've replaced the title block _assembly keyword in the instance name, and now notice that you have your editing capability returned to you. Okay, so just a few little kind of pointers with that. Last thing but not least, notice that this image, obviously with the background color, beige background color, this looks kind of funny with the image white. You can use transparency, the PNG type image, but if you go to a white background, there is no outline, so that will go away, right? So let's just let's hide this grid for a second here, and then there's a little bit of visibility, I guess, but it pretty much goes away. And then if you're in a parallel projection type of scenario, there's your final title blocks. And like I said, you can draw your sheet borders and do whatever other stuff you may want to add real quick to it. But so there you go. And I think just having that little tool is kind of handy to have when you need to do a quick title block and throw out some quick drawings or something just within SketchUp itself. Anyways, thank you again for everybody's support. If you have any questions or suggestions for this new feature, please feel free to call me, email me, get a hold of me somehow. I'm still quite open to things that can be done with this feature because it's brand new. It's in its infancy. I'm sure there's some things that some little tweaks or some little feature adds that could augment it and make it even more useful to everybody. So. Yeah, by all means, give me some feedback on this one. All right, thank you.